Hey guys, so I've been asked by a lot of people if I could do a video breaking down what some of the best equips in the game are for the new Transforming UI Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta. So I've had a little bit of time to get accustomed to what these guys' strengths and weaknesses are, and I think I understand the best ways to build them and the best teams they're supposed to be on. So I'm going to talk about some of the equips that I would recommend you guys look into, especially while we have the Ultra Bonanza still going on for the next few days at the beginning of this anniversary. So if we head into the party formation screen, I'm going to go through some of these equips here. For UI Goku, now my experience using UI Goku and playing against UI Goku so far over the course of the past like 2 days since he's been out, this character's damage is insane. Just absolutely ridiculous. But it's not just the damage, it's his defensive utility and survivability are also just off the charts completely. This guy, when he's transformed, not only does he have the auto dodge engage, not only does he have the second highest damage guard in the game next to Vegeta, he's also got endurance, and he has the arts cost stacking debuff, the arts cost increase stacking attribute downgrade on the opponent whenever he gets hit by a card. So when you compound all of those things on top of each other, this guy is incredibly difficult to kill. He's got healing when the opponent uses a blue card. He's got power down. Like, there's just so much going on with this character defensively that for me, when I'm building UI Goku, I'm mostly looking for almost pure offensive equipment. Strike attack, base strike, pure strike, special move damage, ultimate, well, not ultimate damage because I have an ultimate, but special move damage, and also HP. HP, regardless of what characters you're using, regardless of how you're building your team, HP is always a very valuable stat to have on equipment. So the first equip I'm going to be talking about is actually going to be the current PvP Metal Shop equipment. It is this Kale and Khalifa equipment called Let's Amp This Up. The conditions for this equip are you have to be a Saiyan. So a lot of characters have access to this, but you do get an additional very important benefit if you are a Universe Rep tag character, which luckily Goku and Vegeta are both Universe Rep Saiyans. So I actually do think this equip works very well on both Goku and Vegeta. This equip is giving special move damage 15%, health 10%, health restoration 15%, and then 10% to strike and blast attack. Just to give a quick, very brief explanation, there are two different kinds of offensive stats that equipment can buff. There are base stats. So this equip actually doesn't give any base stats, but if we take a look at, for example, this equipment right here, we can see that this equipment in slot 2, for example, is giving base strike attack, whereas it's giving strike defense. Notice how it doesn't say base strike defense, it just says strike defense. So if on a piece of equipment, the equipment does not specifically say that it is buffing a base stat, that means it is buffing what we call a pure stat. I guess the biggest, easiest way I could explain the difference between a base and pure stat is the base stat is essentially building up the foundation of the strength of that particular stat. So base strike defense in slot 1, 20% is building on the base of that strike defense by 20%. And then what a pure stat is doing is the pure stat will be getting stronger the more base stat there is. So you really want to have a good balance between pure and base stats, because essentially what the pure stat is doing is it's almost acting as like a coefficient for the base stat. So it's good to have high base, but it's also really good to have high pure, because they're working well together, and the higher both numbers are, the higher your maximum number is going to be when you consider both those stats together. So you really want to have a lot of base stats, but you also want to have a lot of pure stats if you have a lot of base stats. It's kind of like there's a two-step process here. First, check the box if you have a lot of base stats, and if you check that box, then you can move on to the next box, which is to buff the pure stats. So that's just a quick breakdown of what that means. So for this equip over here, this equip is buffing 10% to pure strike and blast attack for Universe Rep Saiyans in slot 3, plus you're getting HP, plus you're getting special move damage, plus you're getting health restoration. Typically when we see special move damage and health restoration values on equips like this, especially when we're talking about just regular gold equips that are not awakened and not unique equips, you don't really see 15% for those numbers. That is pretty high. So this is a really solid equip for a PvP equip, because they're pretty easy to roll most of the time, and they're not really too difficult to get because you could just exchange for them with the currency. So I would actually highly recommend you guys farm 2 or 3 of these, because this is going to be something that I think we're using for a long time on both these characters and for future Universe Rep Saiyans when we get them. So that's the first one I would say, and it's definitely going to be the easiest one to get. The second equip I would highly recommend is going to be this Awakened equip, the Show Us What You Can Do equip with Beerus on it. This is applicable to all universe rep characters. And just to quickly go through what it does, it gives 18% to base strike attack in slot 1, 20% to strike attack in slot 2, 20% to strike defense in slot 2, and then in slot 3 you're getting 10% special move damage and 10% to pure strike attack if another universe rep is a battle member. So all in all, you're getting 38% to base strike attack from this, on top of 10% special move damage, on top of 10% to pure strike attack, with some bonus 20% base strike defense as well. This is a monster equip. I would actually say this is probably the most important equipment for UI Goku. And if you are somebody who is pressed for time, maybe you don't have a lot of resources, slot removers, I would actually recommend you look into farming this first and use up as much resources as you have on this before you move on to other equipment, because this is just so powerful. This is giving UI Goku so much damage. We're going to talk about this with Vegeta as well, but just for now, this is like probably one of the most important equips for UI Goku. I understand that the equipment awakening system in this game is not very good, aka it's terrible. I understand that, and I agree with it that it sucks, but you know, sometimes the best equips just come from the Awakened equipment system, and that's going to be a theme we see moving forward here. So I would really recommend you guys do farm that Beerus equip as well. This is another equipment that I think could work really well with UI Goku. Now, the next two equipment I'm going to talk about are actually pretty dependent upon whether or not you're running a specific character or not. Actually, the next two are. So it's going to be this one right here, the Kamehameha equip. That's essentially Blue Gogeta shooting the Kamehameha at the end of the Broly movie. This one can be equipped on characters that are either God Ki or sagas from the movies. And once again, this is another equip I'll mention for Vegeta. There's a common theme here where Vegeta and Goku actually can use a lot of the same equipment. This one is a co-op equip, so you're going to need to exchange some dual coins for this. Again, if you're going to do that, I would recommend you do it during the Ultra Bonanza, because it's the best time to get decent rolls on slot 1 here. But this is a pretty conditional equipment, because for slot 2 and 3, you need not only a God Ki battle member, but you also need a movies character. Now, the character that comes to mind right away for this would be Super Saiyan God Goku, the Legends Limited green Super Saiyan God Goku that is featured on UI Goku's banner. I do think that a lot of people probably will have him because he came out almost a year ago. He released during the 6th anniversary, part 2 of the 6th anniversary. So this equipment works really well if you're using UI Goku specifically with God Goku, and then the same thing goes for Vegeta as well. The next equipment is also going to be essentially hinge on whether or not you have a God Goku on your team. This one can be used on both sagas from the movies or God Ki characters. This one is really good. 10% health, 15% to base blast and strike defense, and then you're getting 12% to pure blast and strike attack. So it's a mixture of good defense and offense. And I just really like this equip a lot because it's just overall a very, very strong equip. But once again, slot 2 and 3 have conditions on here. So you are going to be getting the pure offensive stats, but you need to have a Super Saiyan God tag battle member in order for that to work. And the only viable Super Saiyan God battle member right now that you can use is that Legends Limited green God Goku. So yet another equipment that hinges on you having God Goku on the team with UI Goku, but I don't think it's that crazy to say that he'll be on the team, because it's, you know, if you have him, you're probably going to throw him on the team with him anyway. So this is an equip I'd recommend farming alongside this one if you are using the LF God Goku alongside UI Goku. Now, the last equip I'm going to talk about with UI Goku is going to be this one. This is also an equip that I think you could use pretty effectively on Vegeta as well. So this is another awakened equip, so it's going to be, you know, rather annoying to farm up, but I really think this is a really strong equip. This is for both. So in order to use this, notice how there's like a little connection between the two tags here, God Ki and Saiyan. So if you are a God Ki character and a Saiyan, you can use this. And then there is a separate condition actually in slot 3, if we take a look there, 6% to pure strike attack per tag Saiyan or God Ki battle member. So you are getting 6% to pure strike per Saiyan or God Ki battle member. If your entire battle member lineup is 3 Saiyans or 3 God Ki battle members, you will get 18% to pure strike from that third slot, which is very good. On top of that, you're getting 22% to base strike defense in slot 1, 15% to base strike defense and blast defense in slot 2, and you're getting an extra 10% to special move damage in slot 2 as well. So you're actually getting 37% to base strike defense from this, but the real power of this equip comes from the pure strike in slot 3 plus the special move damage. So you have something like this equip plus this equip on your UI Goku, your UI Goku is getting 25% to blue card damage, special move damage, just from those equips. And then in addition to that, if you have this on God Goku as well, he's getting an extra 10%. So he's actually getting a total of 35% to special move damage from all 3 of those equips. I think for me, the ideal lineup of equipment would go this Beerus equip. This is the #1 equip you put on him. Then I think you go with this equip, assuming you meet the conditions for this. That would be having a full team of Saiyans or a full team of God Key characters. And then I'd probably go with the PvP equip. So again, yeah, you get tons and tons and tons of special move damage. You get tons of pure offenses and base offenses. So you kind of round everything out exactly the way you want it to be with that setup. So that's what I would say is pretty good. There are, of course, some other equips that could be useful on him. I think if you want to go with a more defensive route with your UI Goku, this could be decent, just giving both defenses plus HP. Seems basic, and it is basic, but I think the values on here are high enough to where this could be pretty effective, actually. The current co-op equip, actually don't think it's insanely good. It is decent. It is mostly focused, I would say, around defenses, because you're getting base defense slot 1, pure defenses in slot 2 and 3, and you're only getting 15% to base offenses, 15%. So it's not like insanely good, but it could be decent. It's going to make your God Goku feel a little tankier for sure. Besides those, if you are running a Fusion Warrior character as a battle member, this could be a good equip as well. Yet another Awakened equip, but it's still pretty good. 20% to base strike and 12% to pure strike is a lot of attack. And then you're getting 28% to strike defense and 20% to blast defense. So I do like this equip a lot, but it does require that you use a Fusion Warrior battle member for the slot 3 condition there. And that's pretty much all I would say. There are some other equips here, like this one could be okay. The slot 3 can roll either pure strike or pure blast, depending on what the battle members are on your team. But for UI Goku, I would say those are the real top dog equipments I would look to farm up during this Ultra Bonanza period. For Vegeta, a lot of the equips I'm going to talk about are going to be the same for Vegeta, but Vegeta is a bit of a different character than UI Goku, because for UI Goku, take a look at his stats here. UI Goku has just so much higher strike attack than Blast. It's 31,000 higher strike. And then when we go ahead and transform with him, he's got nearly 40,000 higher strike than Blast. So there is no universe in which you would even think about building this UI Goku as a Blast character. But with Vegeta, Vegeta's actually the opposite. Vegeta is more of a blast-centric character. Before he transforms, he's only got 7,000 more blast attack than strike attack. Doesn't seem too bad. When you transform, that difference jumps up to 17,000, which isn't small, but it is manageable. So this character definitely is more of a blast character, but I would actually argue that more of the teams that you're going to use this Vegeta on utilize more of a strike foundation for the teams rather than blast. But you can go either way with Vegeta too. There's actually, I think, 3 ways you can build Vegeta. You can build Vegeta Blast, you can build Vegeta Strike, or, I actually haven't tested this yet, but I think you can get away with doing this, you can build Vegeta Defense. Defense, if you want to go down that path, this is certainly an equip you want to look into getting for him. If you're somebody who maybe doesn't have very many defensive options for your teams and you want to sort of utilize the Vegeta with his super high damage guard value as the tank of your team, that's definitely something you could do for him. I think if you're going to be building him Strike, we kind of just go down the same path we did with UI Goku, because they have access to sort of some of the same equips. This one is a must use. I think this one's really good. This actually can go both ways, because you're getting 10% to both offenses in slot 3. So this isn't leaning towards Strike or Blast. It's giving you both of those. This again, if you're running God Goku, and then we have this again if you're running God Goku, and then we have this, which I think is just good for him anyway. The only equip I'll kind of throw in here that we didn't talk about, because UI Goku actually cannot use this one, it would be this one. Yet another Awakened equip. I know, it's shocking that some of the best equips in the game are Awakened equips. This one can be equipped to Super Saiyan God's Super Saiyan tag characters, which is why UI Goku cannot use this, but this is a very powerful equip. If you are using a Sun Family or a Vegeta Clan battle member, which of course you are because Vegeta himself fulfills that condition, you are getting, what is this? So if you add up slot 2 and 3, you're getting 27% to base strike attack and 12% to pure strike attack. Plus you're getting 20% blast defense, 15% strike defense. This is a really strong offensive equip. This is pretty similar to that Fusion Warrior equip we looked at, this one right here, which again, you could be good on Vegeta if you are using him next to a Fusion Warrior like Fusion Zamasu, for example, or even maybe like the older fusion Zamasu, maybe Vegeta Blue, the transforming Vegeta Blue. Right, it requires you have a condition to get the pure strike in slot 3, then it's giving you base strike on top of that, so good option there depending on what your team composition looks like. But this is going to be good if you're building Vegeta as a strike character. If you're going more of a blast build with Vegeta, I just go back to this one because it's such a flexible equip. You definitely want to use this for the 10% pure blast and strike attack. And now we can start talking about things like this. This is yet another awakened equipment. This actually came out, I believe this was the Saiyan Saga celebration right before the 6th anniversary, so right over a year ago at this point. This is giving 18% to base blast in slot 1, and it's giving 10% to pure strike and blast attack when Nappa or Vegeta is a battle member, which, of course, Vegeta is a Vegeta battle member. So because he's a purple Saiyan, he can use this, and you're getting some extra base strike defense in slot 2, 25% just for using this. So you're getting 18% to base and pure, 18% to base and 10% to pure blast, and you're getting 10% to pure strike, just as like a consolation prize on that as well. The other equip we can talk about will be this, which we briefly mentioned in the UI Goku section. Like I said, there's two ways you can roll this. You can roll this as pure blast or pure strike in slot 3. Pure blast, the condition is just to have a god key battle member, so it's pretty easy. So you can get the 15% to pure blast from slot 3 and 15% to base blast from slot 2, and you're also getting some double base defenses there from slots 1 and 2 as well, so pretty decent equip there as well. The only other equip I really would even consider using here is the Jiren equip. This one is almost exclusively offensive. You're getting some health in slot 3, which is the only defensive utility you're going to get from this, but this can be equipped to any universe rep character, and it gives, if you add up the totals of blast, because there's actually different blast buffs you're getting from each slot. Slot 1 is 15, slot 2 is 10, slot 3 is 10, so you're getting 35% total base blast from this. You're also getting 15% to ki recovery, 10% special move damage, and 10% to health. So you're actually getting a lot from this equipment, but there's going to be no defense from this at all. You're not getting any base defenses. You're not getting any pure defenses. All you're getting is the HP, which again is still pretty good, but I would probably put this a little bit lower on the priority list unless you've already farmed this up. But those really are the equips I would recommend for, those are the equips I'd recommend for UI Goku and Vegeta, depending on which route you want to go down for their team builds and which characters you're using with them. So while the Ultra Bonanza is up, I recommend you guys farm up some of the equips I introduced today. If you already have some of those equips, let me know how difficult it was to roll them. What are your rolls looking like? The last thing I'll leave you with is don't get too tied up in the ranking of the equip. If you end up with an S equip, don't obsess over getting it to Z. If you end up with a Z equip, don't obsess over getting it to Z+. And then the same thing, if you end up with a Z+, don't obsess over getting it to Godly rank. I would say, and if you guys are watching my beginner's guide series, I put this rule out there, and it's something I came up with, but obviously if you are somebody who's, who wants to try and go for a higher rank, that's fine. What I typically say for equips, and this is, for any kind of equipment, gold equip, awakened equip, unique equipment, take the maximum value of the slot. So let's just say this slot is 18%. And what I would do is I would just multiply that value by 0.8. And that should be right around what you're aiming to get as a roll. So if you take 18% and multiply it by 0.8, you get 14.4%. So like 15, you can like round it up, you can round it down. You can round it to like 15%. That's really what I think is a decent roll for slot 1 on this. And then I would apply that rule to all the other slots. It's, when you start getting into the gold slots and the red slots, that's when things start to become not very fun with the equipment system. Not saying the equipment system is very fun to begin with, but it becomes very, very frustrating because the rates on these equips are so low to roll. So I would say temper your expectations when you're rolling equipment in this game. Don't spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of slot removers on one slot. Just try and aim for that 80% of the max value roll, and things will just be a lot easier, because at the end of the day, it's really not going to make as much of a difference as you're thinking. Oh, you have a S equip versus a godly rank equip. You're going to lose because you only have an S rank equip. That's usually not how things go. So that's what I'll tell you guys to do. Let me know how your equipment journey has gone during the anniversary so far. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.